Stop. Look at your phone right now. Notice the anxiety pulsing in your chest because she hasn't replied. Because the dynamic shifted and you didn't even feel it happen. You believed that if you were kind enough, available enough, supportive enough, you'd earn her loyalty. You believed love was a transaction. Give your heart, and she's obligated to protect it. But look around you. Good guys get ignored. Men who do anything for her are the ones she respects the least. Why? Because nature doesn't reward what begs to be saved. Attraction isn't built on safety, it's built on tension. Niccolo Machiavelli, the father of dark strategy, understood something about human nature that modern society has been desperately trying to hide from you. He knew that people are ungrateful, inconsistent, and self-serving. He knew that power doesn't go to the virtuous, it goes to the strategic. You're here because you're tired of being a passenger in your own relationships, tired of the mind games, the mixed signals, the passive-aggressive silence. You want to know why some men effortlessly attract attention while you're grinding for every crumb. The answer isn't your looks. It's not your bank account. It's your frame. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to dismantle every lie you've been told about women, love, and attraction, and hand you 7 psychological keys that will make it impossible for you to ever be manipulated again. These aren't pickup lines. These are reality shifts. Fair warning, once you see the mechanics of control, you can't unsee them. You'll see the strings on everyone. If you're ready to stop being the fan and start being the prize. Let's go. Principle 1. The economics of absence. Scarcity creates value. Here's the most brutal economic truth you'll ever hear. If air were sold, you'd only pay for it if you were drowning. Right now, you are free air, you're everywhere. You reply instantly. You clear your schedule the second she shows the slightest interest. You think you're showing dedication. Psychologically, you're signaling low value. Machiavelli wrote, "Familiarity breeds contempt." He understood that the more people see a leader, the less they fear him, and the less they revere him. The same applies to attraction. When you're constantly present, you rob her of the most powerful drug in the human brain, imagination. When you're absent, she has to think about you. She wonders what you're doing, who you're with, whether you're thinking about her. In that space of uncertainty, her mind builds a version of you far more captivating than reality. But you keep suffocating that with your presence. The fix: master the art of calculated absence. This isn't toxic ghosting, it's prioritizing your mission over her attention. When you're genuinely building your empire, training your body, sharpening your mind, your absence isn't a tactic, it's a byproduct of your value. A woman instinctively knows the difference between a man faking busyness to seem interesting and a man actually building a life bigger than her. The first is a manipulator. The second is a king. When she texts and responds 3 hours later, the old you panics. The old you sends a follow-up message. The new you puts the phone down and gets back to work, not to punish her, but because you don't reward her with your anxiety. People are wired to chase what retreats. If you're always running toward her, you're forcing her to run away just to maintain the distance. Stop running, stand in your purpose, turn your back and watch how fast she follows. Drop in the comments, "My absence is expensive." Let me know you got that. Principle 2. Emotional unpredictability, intermittent reinforcement. The human brain loves patterns, but it gets bored by them. If a slot machine paid out every single time you pulled the lever, you'd play for 10 minutes, collect your money, and leave. Boring. But slot machines don't work that way. They pay out randomly. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you almost win. That unpredictability spikes dopamine to levels that rival cocaine. This is called intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful addiction mechanism ever discovered in psychology. Most men are completely predictable, predictably nice, predictably insecure, predictably reactive. She already knows exactly what to say to make you smile, and exactly what to do to make you apologize. You're a book she's already read. Why would she open it again? Machiavelli told the prince to be both a lion and a fox. The lion is powerful and commanding. The fox is clever and elusive. You need to be both. Disrupt your own behavioral patterns. If you're usually calm, surprise her with a moment of intense poetic passion. If you're usually warm, pull back and become cool and analytical for a day. not out of cruelty. As a reminder that your affection isn't a salary. It's a commission. It must be earned. When she can't predict your reaction, she's forced to pay attention to you. She has to study you. She has to tread carefully. And that attention, that's the seed of obsession. This isn't about being cold. It's about having an emotional range that belongs to you, not to her. Most men are emotional mirrors. She's happy, they're happy. She's distant, they panic. You're letting her weather dictate your climate. To lead the dynamic, you have to become your own weather system. You can be at peace when she's chaos. When she realizes she can't press a button and get a reaction, she starts seeking your approval instead of expecting it. The moment a woman asks herself, "What is he thinking?" you've won. Principle 3. The Narcissus Mirror. The validation strategy. We are all narcissists. Every single one of us cares about ourselves more than anyone else. Machiavelli knew that to influence people, you don't tell them what you want. You show them what they desire. And what does a woman desire most? To be seen, to be understood, to be the protagonist of her own story. Most men try to impress women by talking about themselves. Their job, their car, their gym PRS. They think they're demonstrating high value. What they're actually demonstrating is insecurity. Please look at me. Please think I'm enough. The Machiavellian approach is the opposite. Become the mirror. Speak less. Listen more. But listen with predatory intensity. Ask her questions nobody else asks. Peel back the layers of her psychology. Why do you actually do that? What are you really afraid of? You show the world this strength, but I see the little girl hiding behind that armor. When you analyze her, when you speak to her shadow side, you create a connection that feels like destiny. She'll think, "I've never felt this understood by anyone." She feels it because you're reflecting her own ego back at her. But here's the trap, and this is where the control lives. You hold the mirror. You decide when to raise it and when to lower it. When you give someone deep, intense validation, they become addicted to it. When you withdraw it, when you stop asking, stop gazing at her with that intensity, she'll do anything to get it back. She'll chase the reflection of herself she saw in your eyes. Use this carefully. Don't compliment her beauty. Every man does that. Validate her effort. Validate her darkness. Validate the parts of her she hides from the world. Make her feel exposed, but safe. That's psychological intimacy, and it's a chain stronger than steel. Principle 4. Destroy the pedestal. There is a fatal bug in your operating system. Disney, Hollywood, and well-meaning people around you programmed you to believe women are goddesses. Pure, perfect beings of light to be worshipped. This is the pedestal effect, and it repels high-value women. Think about it. If you treat her like a celebrity, she has no choice but to treat you like a fan. Fans don't sleep with celebrities. Fans pay for tickets. Fans stand in line. Fans are spectators. Machiavelli taught that the prince must see the world as it is, not as he wishes it to be. See her as she is. She's human. She has flaws. She has insecurities. She makes bad decisions. She wakes up with morning breath. When you look at her with worship, she senses your submission and she recognizes that you see her as out of your league. Women are hypergamous. They are drawn to men who are at their level or above it. By placing her on a pedestal, you voluntarily position yourself beneath her. You're literally broadcasting, "I am not your equal." To shift the dynamic, you must dismantle the pedestal. Look at her as an equal. Be willing to disagree with her. Be willing to call out bad behavior, not with anger, but with calm amusement, like she's a kid being a little too dramatic. You're always such a handful. When a beautiful woman is used to men stumbling over themselves to agree with her, a man who says, "I actually think you're wrong about that," is a shock to the system. It signals you're not intimidated by her beauty, that you value your truth more than her approval. That's the foundation of respect. She cannot respect a man she can walk over. She cannot love a man she doesn't respect. By removing her from the pedestal, you actually give her the ability to love you. Stop apologizing for your existence. Stop laughing at unfunny jokes. Stop agreeing with opinions you think are stupid. Shift from, "I hope she likes me," to, "Is she good enough for me?" Principle 5. The authority of silence. Machiavelli knew, whoever speaks less holds more power. In negotiations, the person who fills the silence loses. In arguments, the person who yells loses. In seduction, the person who over-explains loses. You talk too much. You explain yourself because you're afraid of being misunderstood. You send paragraph-long texts because you're terrified she'll miss the nuance. You want to clarify everything. Stop. Your words leak your power. Mystery cannot survive a biography. If you tell her your entire life story on the first date, you're a finished puzzle. You go back in the box. Stay an unfinished puzzle. Use silence as a weapon. When she provokes you, when she creates drama to get a reaction, give her nothing. Look at her with calm, unreadable eyes. Let the silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable. She'll rush to fill it. She'll start explaining herself. She'll start seeking your approval. Silence projects confidence. It implies you're evaluating her. It triggers her anxiety loop. Why isn't he reacting? What is he thinking? You are the prince. A prince doesn't justify his decisions. He makes them. Or better yet, he acts. Never say, I'm a high-value man. Never say, I won't tolerate disrespect. Just demonstrate value through action. Just punish disrespect with your absence. Words are for the weak. Silence is for monarchs. Master the pause. Before answering a question, wait 3 seconds. Look at her. Breathe. Then speak. That tiny gap shatters her autopilot. It shows deliberate control. It gives your words the weight of 1,000 pounds. Principle 6. The willingness to walk away. We've reached the nuclear weapon of dark psychology, the ultimate power move, the one thing that cannot be faked. Absolute willingness to walk away and never look back. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must never rely on the goodwill of others, only on his own strength. If you need her, she owns you. If you prefer her but can live without her, you own the world. Most men stay in bad situations because they're terrified of the void, terrified of being alone. They tolerate disrespect, mediocrity, manipulation because they're negotiating from a position of weakness. The moment you truly internalize that you are the prize, everything changes. The moment you realize there are billions of women on Earth, but only one of you, the fear dissolves. This isn't a bluff. Women have a sixth sense for bluffs. They know when you're pretending you're okay walking away. You have to actually build a life so rich, so driven by purpose, so full of options that losing her is an inconvenience, not a tragedy. When she knows you'll open that door and let her leave the moment she crosses your boundary, she won't leave. She'll close the door and stay. Because security exists within the boundaries of a strong man. If your walls are made of paper, she feels unsafe. If your walls are built of stone, if your no means no, she can relax into her own femininity. She wants to be led, but she can only be led by a man who knows where he's going with, or without her. This is the paradox of love. You keep only what you're willing to lose. Clench your fist, and sand pours through your fingers. Open your palm and it stays. Build your kingdom. If she wants to be queen, she plays by the kingdom's rules. If not, the gates are open. That energy is intoxicating. It's the energy of a man who cannot be controlled, and therefore the man every woman wants to try to control. Principle 7. The real takeaway: control yourself. We called this video the Machiavelli method for controlling any woman, and you watched it because you wanted power over her. But did you notice the pattern in every single one of these principles? Calculated absence, emotional unpredictability, destroying the pedestal, silence, walking away. None of this is about controlling her, it's about controlling you. That is the ultimate twist of dark psychology. You cannot control another person. You can only manipulate variables, but you can control yourself with absolute precision. The reason your past relationships fail: you were a slave to your own impulses, slave to your lust, slave to your need for approval, slave to your fear of being alone. Conquer those slaves within you. Become the man who doesn't need, and you become a black hole of gravity. She doesn't submit to your force. She submits to your order, not to your anger, to your calm. When you are the most grounded element in the room, everything else orbits around you. That's physics, that's nature. So don't go out there and play games with women. Go out there and build yourself into the kind of man who never has to. Easel. If this video opened your eyes to something you've been missing, share it with a man who needs to hear it. Not every guy will find this on his own. Subscribe to the channel. I drop content like this every week. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just the uncomfortable truths that actually change your life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you want to support the channel and help this content reach more people, check the link in the description. Every bit of support keeps this channel alive and growing. Drop a comment below. Which principle hit you the hardest? I read every single one.